Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 30 of the Cappuccino Club's social TV channel. We've been going live every single day for the last 30 days, bar the last 2 days when I was simply just not able to go live because I had a tooth extraction. And I'm very pleased to finally feel somewhat more human after that experience. And so, welcome to our audience um, on LinkedIn. Welcome to our audience on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. And welcome to my co-host Viola. Viola, how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. And I'm so glad that you're feeling close to human. We missed you. We missed doing the show for the last 2 days. But I think, we all talking about unintended consequences. One of the unintended consequences for us is that we were able to take that whole journey with you in terms of your toothache and the pain you were going through. So I'm really glad that you're feeling better. I can imagine it wasn't a very pleasant experience, but it's day 30 and I'm quite excited to see like how things are progressing and how people are there's this buzz now with after this president's speech. And I'm not talking about all the memes about him putting the face mask on his face. I'm talking about the buzz around level 4 and just business owners trying to get their businesses ready and complying and trying to find out what needs to happen and what needs to be done. So a lot of our guests and a lot of the ladies on the Cappuccino Club network are being inundated. As soon as we get inquiries, we send it on to the people that know. So lots of buzz, lots of activity, lots of stuff happening in the space. So we are, we're over 1,400 recoveries. We are over 160,000 tests, but we're also very close to, 100 people who have passed due to COVID-19. And, it's just, I think it might be a good time for us to just take a minute to just talk about that and talk about the fact that there's lots of families in South Africa who have to say goodbye to loved ones due to this virus, and it's not an easy time. And there are also lots of loved ones who are saying goodbye, to their friends and families that have passed, and they really can't be the level of support that we used to being. You can't go and visit, you can't offer the levels of support that you were. And it is such a difficult time. So to all of those who are suffering those kinds of loss and just feeling so helpless and frustrated by the lockdown, just know that you are, in our thoughts and prayers, and we salute you through this very, very difficult time. Yeah, so lots happening. I think we've got quite a number of confirmed cases now, and I think that's also just the spike in cases and the increase in cases also has a lot to do with the increase in testing, which is exactly what the Department of Health want. They want to be able to have a more accurate reflection of the situation in South Africa. But just Bridgetti, I think South Africans are just doing really well. Just very excited, I think, about what level 4 means.
Yes, absolutely we are. And I think, you are spot on when you're talking about how disproportionate our figures could possibly have been due to low testing and catching up and the difficulty with losing loved ones. And I still have a hard time, and I understand that they're saying that sometimes people die because they have underlying conditions. But regardless of that, it doesn't make the process of losing someone due to COVID-19 less traumatic. It's not a very pleasant way for people to go. And simply because we are under lockdown, as you said, the manner in which we grieve has been altered for us. It's not something we've done willingly. It's something that we forced into, and that makes it really, really tough. And I think once the restrictions are lifted, I, I think we are going to really take some time and just huddle around one another. And I think one of the things, there's been a lot of unpleasant, unintended consequences of COVID-19. But something I am looking forward to on the positive side is that one of the unintended consequences of COVID-19 is also that it's brought us closer together as humankind. It's allowed us to see the human side
It has.
of each other, especially in the corporate world as well.
Yeah.
We used to looking at somebody as, the suit. And now COVID-19 has allowed us to see the person behind the suit and to be more human in the way that we transact and do our transactions. It certainly has changed the face of business
Yes.
forever. And now with level 4, it's a whole new ball game, and people, I think, are scurrying, as you said, to apply to open their businesses with level 4.
Yeah.
But with that comes a whole lot of concerns, and also responsibility that will be placed on businesses, because
Yes.
we're also seeing businesses shut down if they do have an outbreak of COVID-19. So yes, it's fantastic that businesses have the opportunity to start returning to becoming economically active. But if they're not doing so responsibly, they're in for a rude awakening, I think.
Yeah. And to do it responsibly is also going to cost. There's going to be financial implications that a lot of business owners are going to have to think about. Just to comply is going to require, certain financial outlay, in terms of just being able to sanitize, getting everything that you need in place, like your sanitizers, getting new technology on board. And so, the sort of manual card clock-in system might not work really well anymore, because you really have to be aware of the fact that the virus is transmitted, that way. And so it's really going to be a very, very difficult time for people. There's going to, for bigger companies, they're going to probably have to have a nurse on call, or at least at the office, and that's another expense. So there are going to be expenses incurred in complying, and that's actually the one area that I haven't seen government respond in terms of any support to businesses who now have to invest in a lot of new technology and so on.
That's going to be quite something, because as you said, I don't think we've paid enough attention to the fact that businesses already are severely cash strapped as it is. And now for them to enter the economy again is going to cost them money that they may not have. And I don't even know whether it's fair to say that it's easier for bigger companies. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some statistics saying, for example, that companies are going to rethink their big headquarters that they've been having for the past, I don't know how many years, because they've now been able to
Yeah.
see that people can work from home, and that often, a chair in an office is costing them more than the salary of the person that they're employing. And so I think with the economy being the way it is, people are going to be restructuring, and I can also see some redundancies taking place, because people
No.
are now in this period been able to identify the gaps. And one of the comments I've seen that I think is going to be quite hard hitting is they said, they can foresee a lot of chops in the middle management space.
Yes.
Because they're
Yeah.
realizing if people are working from home, they don't need that layer of middle management as much as when people are in offices. And if
Yeah.
people are going to be pivoting and diversifying and allowing more of their workforce to work from home, for whatever reason, we're going to see a huge shift in that middle management layer,
Yeah.
in the corporate environment.
Yeah, but I also think that we're going to find that there's going to be lots more opportunities. I'm still, for me, the jury's still out on whether there is going to be this massive change in the way people do things. I mean, I'm hoping that there is. I hope that people have been able to cotton onto the innovation and just look at things differently. But at one stage, we were all talking about hot desking, and I think specifically the ICT sector was very, sort of on top of things in terms of hot desking, and people would sort of come in and work shifts. That was all the ideas that were sort of mulling around, but they never were really implemented to the full extreme that they could have been implemented with lots of businesses. So I think things are a little different in that we've been forced into new behavior. We've been forced, business owners are forced into new behavior. There's a whole new level of operating. And I'm not sure that everybody's 100% comfortable with it just yet. I'm not sure that it suits everybody's personalities. I'm sure that there are still certain people that are going to want to go into the office. You know, the kids are driving them crazy. They're looking forward to lockdown being lifted so that they can just sort of, you know, operate differently and be able to operate, you know, without having to be in at home. So I'm quite keen to see how it's going to work out and how many companies are actually going to allow the bulk of their staff to work from home. I also think people are tied into leases, and they are tied into specific contractual agreements in terms of the employment contracts, etc. All of those things will have to be revisited. You know, as much as they might be saving in terms of not having that staff member there, staff are now going to start talking to them about, you know, using their homes. You know, I've heard some people starting to talk about the fact that, you know, if you're expecting me to use my space as an office, you're taking up space in my home. There has to be some kind of remuneration for that, data costs, etc., etc. So I think it's going to be very interesting. The insurance industry is going to change. People are not driving their cars as much as they used to. There's just so many industries. If you just put your, you know, just put your head together and just talk about it, there's just so many industries that are going to have to change the approach to business.
I totally agree. I think one thing that is also made clear to us is whether or not you are the kind of person that could work from home or not. You know, because there are some people that are absolutely, and men and women, that are absolutely loving the idea of working from home. Others are feeling trapped. So I think it's kind of helped you identify, could you, should you be working from home, whether it's in your own business or whether it is for a corporate. But we've got a very exciting week ahead on the Cappuccino Club Social TV. Perhaps you could just run through what our viewers can expect.
So what's exciting about next week is that we decided to focus on one industry up until the end of the extended 14 days. And the industry we were looking at is the energy industry. And Yolanda, who's been a guest on our show, has been brilliant in terms of just rallying some ladies together in that industry. So on Monday, we're looking at building resilience and sustaining energy in the face of adversity. So that's going to be quite interesting. And we've got a panel, so we will advertise it. We will be putting it onto our social platforms. Some very interesting ladies going to be participating in that show. And then Tuesday's show is actually going to talk about creativity from crisis for energy SMMEs for that specific SMME landscape. Really looking forward to hearing that, because we're all talking about how the adversity, how the situation that we find ourselves in should be presenting opportunities and, change. And it would be fantastic to just hear how this specific industry and sector is responding to that. And then, of course, leadership. We're speaking about leadership, leading through the unknown, the unbreakable power of women, just talking about how leaders in the sector are actually going to lead through this difficulty. Because, the one thing that's come through for me, Bridgetti, so strongly is that South Africa's leadership have been clear, they've been decisive, they've been informative, they have communicated, and that has been such a amazing focus and area of support and focus for South Africans, because we have heard our president speak, we have seen him, we look and we can take strong leadership from him. And so I think leaders leading through a crisis in this industry, if you are a leader, you need to watch the show on Wednesday. You need to really be sitting down and saying, what lessons can we learn from these amazing women? If you're an SMME owner, or you own an incubator, or you're managing an incubator and it's filled with SMMEs, you have to watch Tuesday's show just to see how have they been able to respond creatively to this crisis. And then, of course, Monday's show again is going to be talking about building resilience and sustainable energy through this crisis, because that's the one thing that we've needed. I mean, one of the biggest things that we've spoken about is the fact that there were no rolling blackouts. There have not been blackouts through this period for most of us. I know places like Orange Farm have still been experiencing blackouts, but that's got, it's a completely different source of problem. So, the fact that we could depend on having energy, having connectivity, being able to be entertained without, watching television and binge watching series, which is what lots of my friends were doing, being able to cook, being able to do all these things that have now become sort of our saving grace during this lockdown period, have all depended on energy, which of course is why we chose to speak to that sector specifically.
Absolutely. I'm totally looking forward to that. I want to give a huge shout out to Mitch Jackson, who's watching us on LinkedIn. Mitch is a US based attorney and he's known as the streaming lawyer. So he's one of those people that has adapted to life online way before COVID-19. And it's been amazing to see how throughout, from the beginning of the lockdown, Mitch has stayed in contact with his clients and with his prospective clients because he's already had an online persona. He
Yeah.
already had an online presence. And so, where a lot of people had to make that switch now and found the switch difficult because they were forced into it, people who were innovative long before COVID-19 and took on um, or embraced live streaming into their marketing strategy are finding it so much easier. And so if you're still sitting on the fence about whether or not you should pivot into the online space, I think one of the things that COVID-19 has indicated is that we need to build this into our marketing plan.
Yeah.
We can no longer ignore the digital space when it comes to marketing ourselves, our brand, our business, or whatever it is we're doing to make a living.
Absolutely.
Incorporate live video into that.
Absolutely. And I think it's so important, Piketty, because that platform and understanding what live streaming can do for your business, it's an opportunity to communicate with your customers, your existing customers. It's an opportunity to, we spoke about just getting new potential customers to know who you are and trust you through feeding through useful tips and hints, sharing information. There's a plethora of opportunity and ideas that could actually be worked and implemented using live streaming. So it doesn't have to be one specific thing. It could be training, it could be informing, it could be advertising. It doesn't have to be a hard sell, so there's just so many options for you. And, throughout the show, we've been encouraging people to just contact us if you need help with that. Put something into the comments and we'll definitely get back, we'll get in touch with you. It's just an amazing opportunity for change for your business, you as a business owner. And I think that's also one of the comments we've made. You will now see who are business owners and who are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are going to find a way to make this work. They are just a lot more flexible, and they're a lot more willing to pivot and to find new ways to make what they have work. I've just seen it a lot with the CMT space now, where so many people who were doing, like you said, curtains and linen and all those good things. Everybody knows I've got the sort of people to do. I've got the human resource. I've got the other resources required. Let me make face masks. And some of the face masks are amazing. I mean, I've just seen some really good ones. I love the fact that it's sort of higher up on the nose. It covers your nose, easy to wash. People have just really been amazing in terms of their response to, being able to pivot and just find new ways to do what they know to do best.
Absolutely. And I love the hashtag pivot with purpose. In other words, it's not a hit and miss. Um, it is a calculated change in your business or your business model or the way in which you do business. So let us know in the comments how your business is pivoting with purpose. And again, I just want to re-emphasize when it comes to live streaming, it's not about hard selling. Something that's really, really fun and that allows people to get to know you as a person is to have a fireside chat with your CEO, with your chief marketing officer, or whoever it is, or key people in your business that you want to introduce to the public. Have those fireside chat type of conversations. It doesn't have to be formal. It can be a lot of fun if you give it some thought and just keep it lighthearted, make it fun, let people get to know you and why you have those particular products or services for your business and why you feel passionate about it, it can be very, very easy to put it together.
Absolutely.
So with that, we're at the end of day 30. We're looking forward to the week very, very excitedly, with a focus on energy
Yes.
sector this week.
Yes. Yeah.
And we will make some announcements by tomorrow. But hopefully we will probably also be able to check in with the water sector either Thursday or Friday this week.
Yeah.
But we should be able to announce that tomorrow sometime.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, everyone.
And we're still also following up with the labor representative, and we're still following up with disaster management. It's just such a busy time for them, and I think we understand. It's just going to be one of those things where we're going to schedule them, and if they can make it, they can. If they can't, it's just one of those things. We'll have to pivot and roll with the punches as well. Thank you everybody for watching. It's been amazing to be back, and we'll, if all goes well, we'll see you tomorrow with a very exciting show.
Absolutely. We look forward to our Energy Week. Thanks, everyone, and goodbye from me in Cape Town. It's Bridgetti and Banda signing off.
Bye-bye.